All right, so let's kick things off talking about that YouTube analysis discussing, well, how China is allegedly going to help Iran sort of smash Israel's war machine.
Absolutely, it's a pretty tense narrative, almost like watching a real life geopolitical thriller unfolding.
Right. And the analysis dives headfirst into the notion that China's coming into the picture with strategic support for Iran, which could, like, completely shift the balance in the region.
Yeah, it paints a picture of a new axis of power where, China's economic and military clout might bolster Iran's position against Israel.
Exactly. It's like they're arguing that what we're seeing isn't just a local conflict, it's a high stakes global power play, with every move calculated to influence not only the region, but also the global strategic landscape.
For sure. And the rhetoric in the video suggests that this isn't just passive support, it's about actively, in a way, empowering Iran to challenge what's been seen as Israel's war machine.
Right, right. And when you think of a war machine, it's like a finely tuned engine. And here the idea is that Iran, with some strategic help from China, could like effectively disable or at least disrupt that engine.
Yeah, it really drives home the severity of the claim. I mean, the phrase smash Israel's war machine is like really loaded. It's not just a debate about policy, it's almost incendiary.
Absolutely, it is incendiary. And there are layers to it. I mean, the video digs into how the involvement of China might not merely be about technology or arms, but also about
Yep.
geopolitical leverage, like shifting alliances and undermining existing power structures.
I see what you mean. It's not just about supplying arms. It's about like channeling a whole network of economic and political support to tilt, regional dynamics.
Yes, and it's interesting because it challenges the traditional narrative many of us have grown up with about the clear cut boundaries of influence in the Middle East.
True, although I have to say, while these arguments are compelling, I do wonder if they might be oversimplifying some of the nuances. Like, do we have enough evidence that China is ready to cross that proverbial line?
That's a fair point. I mean, the video does rely a lot on, circumstantial evidence and conjecture, but it also points to a pattern in China's broader strategic maneuvers, suggesting that this could be just one piece of a much larger puzzle.
Right, it draws parallels to other historical instances where support for proxy forces has been a common tactic.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the video argues that we might be on the verge of seeing a paradigmatic shift in how power is asserted in the region, moving from overt military interventions to these, more subtle and indirect forms of engagement.
That shift really does resonate, especially given the broader context of international relations these days. The relative decline of unilateral action by traditional powers, right?
Right. And when you layer on the complexities of sanctions, trade wars, and all that, China's potential involvement becomes even more interesting. It's almost like they are rewriting the playbook on how alliances are built on the global stage.
Yeah, but I do think we need to approach this with a bit of caution. Some of these projections can sometimes exaggerate the actual level of support or involvement. It's a nuanced dance, isn't it?
Absolutely. And you're right. A healthy skepticism is warranted. I mean, while the idea of China actively bolstering Iran makes for a dramatic narrative, the reality might be much more complex and measured.
Exactly. A lot of these moves tend to be more about signaling and strategic posturing rather than direct military intervention.
True, and it's like, signals can be as powerful as actions in international politics. One could say that even the threat of such an alliance has its own destabilizing effects.
Oh, for sure. And if we think about it, the idea of a reshuffled global order definitely has broader implications.
I mean, consider the ripple effects. A shift like this could force the US and its allies to rethink their
Yeah.
strategies in the region. It really opens up a whole new set of questions about the future of global power balances.
Right. And it also potentially impacts how regional conflicts might be resolved or escalated. The video briefly touches on this possibility, doesn't it?
Yes, exactly. It suggests that if China starts to back Iran in a more direct fashion, it could embolden certain factions and lead to a more volatile situation on the ground. And that
Definitely,
volatility could be exploited by other players too.
it's almost like a domino effect. One move could trigger a series of unpredictable reactions, both politically and militarily.
Yeah, exactly. And what's fascinating is that the analysis doesn't just stop at the military implications, it also looks at the economic and ideological underpinnings. You know, the soft power aspects of this alignment are just as intriguing.
Absolutely. And that's where the conversation really gets layered. The interplay between hard power and soft power in this context is like deciphering a complex code of signals and intent.
Right. And think about it. If China is seeking to weaken traditional US influence in the region by enabling Iran, then it's not just about arms, it's about challenging an entire
Yeah,
global order. That's a high stakes bet.
I get that. But I also wonder if the video perhaps overemphasizes the certainty of China's commitment. Isn't it possible that China might just lean on a more pragmatic engagement rather than an outright alliance against Israel?
That's a valid critique. I agree. And while the narrative the video presents is certainly provocative, it might be a bit of an overinterpretation of intent. After all, China has its own set of global interests that don't always align neatly with one side or the other.
Right. And you know, Chinese policy has always been about strategic ambiguity, maintaining flexibility, and not burning too many bridges.
Exactly. So while the possibility of them stepping in to tip the scales in Iran's favor is there, it might in practice be a lot more calculated and cautious than the video implies. A classic case of reading too much into provocative signals, maybe.
Yeah, it definitely pushes us to question the extent to which these geopolitical narratives are amplified for effect. But at the same time, they serve as a reminder of how fluid and unpredictable international alliances can be.
Absolutely. And that unpredictability is what makes these discussions so fascinating. It's like watching an ongoing, unscripted drama unfold on the world stage.
Right on. Totally. And it leaves us wondering about the next moves. What will be the actual outcomes if such alliances are enforced or even just hinted at?
Yeah, it's like a game of chess where every piece matters, and even the slightest misstep could reshape the entire board.
Yeah.
And with such high stakes, it keeps all of us on our toes.
And it makes you appreciate how interconnected it all is. That one decision by a major power like China can send shockwaves across, well, multiple continents.
Exactly. And while some might argue that this kind of analysis dramatizes the risks, it certainly forces us to evaluate the potential for rapid change in global dynamics.
Indeed. Well said. It's a reminder that in international relations, the lines are always blurred, and every narrative, even the provocative ones, pushes us to look deeper at what might be coming next.